All right, guys, what's going on? Live and direct from Patong Beach in Phuket. In today's video, we are going to be discussing whether or not I believe there will be an alt season this year. So I've been on YouTube a lot recently, and I've been looking at the kind of videos that have been turning up on my feed. And it's quite interesting because a lot of them are simply just saying that the bull run's over, everything's going, it's going to die. This time is different to the last time. There's not going to be an alt season. It's just going to be Bitcoin only. We've already had the run. It looks like things are kind of over now, and just get ready for another bear market. And it's very interesting because I even look at my own psychology, and when I see these kind of videos popping up, it really takes a hit sometimes. Like sometimes you go on YouTube and you just want to see someone who's basically going to back up whatever you were already thinking. So if you're kind of like, nah, I reckon the bull run's not over, we've still got another leg to go, all of that, you go onto YouTube and you think you want someone to back that up basically. And at the same time, when you come across a lot of negative videos, it does the complete opposite. So when you're kind of thinking, oh, I really hope that it's going to go one way, and then everyone's on there saying it's going to go the other, all that basically happens is you end up kind of just bringing your morale down, and you start believing them or thinking, could it be true? Is it really over? Is there a chance that it doesn't go back up? Etc, etc. And it starts to play with you a little bit. It starts to toy with your head. But what I want to say to you guys is this. Of course, we never know what's going to happen in crypto. It could always go either way. There could always be a black swan event. Everything could go wrong. Who knows? At the same time, if we think about the previous cycles, what caused the alt seasons? Because people say, for example, the Bitcoin halving caused the prices to go up. Well, okay, that would apply to Bitcoin, but not to the altcoins. But then even if we just think about Bitcoin for a moment, okay, the supply halved. Well, last cycle, the supply halved as well. And let's be 100% honest, the supply wasn't that big. Like the new supply entering the market was never that huge for Bitcoin. Okay, 10 years ago, yes, it would have been really significant. But the amount of Bitcoin that gets mined every day compared to how much was already available on the market, last cycle, having a Bitcoin halving, let's say 4 or 5 years ago, was it really impacting the supply of Bitcoin that much? Not really. At the end of the day, what really drives these markets is the anticipation. Because think about it, okay, the halving happens, but the price run up doesn't really happen until a year after the halving. So is it really the halving that causes the cycles, or is it more basically just human greed? Because what you have to think is, when everyone's anticipating that it's going to go up, everyone's got the money ready or they start putting the money in. When enough people believe that something's going to go up and they all get their money ready and then it starts going up, starts showing signs, the greed kicks in. This is where people start putting more in and more in and more in. And as you've seen in the past, this can go on for quite a while and can be extremely, extremely explosive. So what I would say to you guys is this. If you're sitting there right now thinking, oh, I think there might not be an alt season might be over. Guys, all we need is a little bit of greed to kick back in. Just need a few positive signs, a few positive days. If the markets just go back to where they were a few months ago, and let's be honest, guys, the world hasn't ended. Okay, there's a bit of riffraff with the tariffs, fair enough, but I think that's slowly going to kind of fizzle out as far as the shock factor of it, because it's not the tariffs that's made everything go crazy. It's the shock anticipation of them coming into effect. So once that kind of gets settled, we kind of know more what's going on. Markets kind of price it in, or they stop with their overreaction to it. Then there's some room for some greed to come back in. And if you guys pay attention to people like Raoul Pal, who is a macro investor, he has said many times and shown us that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, the market cycles are extremely, extremely linked to the M2 money supply, which is basically the amount of money available and flowing around in the world. And of course, people take into account the USA and them printing and stuff, but there are plenty of other countries that also print money too. And many of them are printing. So the M2 money supply is on the up. Now there is a bit of a lag between the M2 supply going up and cryptocurrencies pumping and going crazy. But regardless, M2 is on the up big time. And this is obviously big for the crypto markets. In addition to this, as I was saying, don't let people's negative sentiment and the market's negative sentiment deceive you from believing that there will be an altcoin season. Because at the end of the day, guys, altcoins move quickly. They don't need a lot of time. They don't need a lot to just send them off. All they need is a few days of things looking positive for the greed to kick back in, for the influencers to start saying, yeah, guys, it's back on, the market's back, we're going to the moon, we're going up. It doesn't take that much for it to kick back off. As you can see from the charts, when altcoins go, they go quickly. They go quickly, they move quickly. And, you know, 1 week before, the market sentiment could have been horrible. And no one really knows what sends the altcoins off in this way. But all I know personally is it doesn't take much. So to completely lose faith and think, oh my God, it's over, we're not going to get this one final run, I think is a bit of an over-exaggeration, because at the end of the day, within just the last 12 months, we've seen the market sentiment flip multiple times. We've seen different categories, different types of coins go on massive runs. We've seen Bitcoin go on massive runs. So guys, don't underestimate the power of crypto, what could happen, what we could see in the next few months. Who knows when it will start exactly, but I'm personally very faithful that it will kick back in, because I've gone through this market sentiment before. I remember how it was after the COVID crash, when everything got wrecked, when it went down. That was actually a time when it felt like the end of the world. It doesn't feel like the end of the world right now. So back then, the whole economic climate was far worse, and yet we still had a huge bull run. So guys, I'm not going to send you loads of false positivity, but I like to remain positive. I'm very confident that we are going to see a big alt season this year and just a massive overall crypto bull run. So let me know if you agree with me down in the comments, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you again in the next one.